Is Dewan the best game I've played in 2026? No. No, it's not. And maybe the reason for that is, although Dewan is brand new, hot off the press, the new hotness out there in the board game world at the moment, I feel like I've played this game already. Essentially, there are two actions you can take on your turn. One is to take 2 cards from the card grid. These cards need to be neighbouring each other, so you can't take the first card and the 6th card from the grid, and you can put that into your hand. You're collecting these colours of cards collecting from a grid, from an open supply of cards, of colours that you take into your hand. It sounds familiar, right? It sounds kind of familiar, except for the collect 2 from have to be next to each other. That's a very valid, important rule that is different from other games. The other thing you can do is then you can spend these cards, these coloured cards, to traverse the different colours of the landscape to place one of your trains, camps, onto the board. I guess what I'm saying, as subtle as a sledgehammer, is that this is just an upgraded version of Ticket to Ride. Instead of routes from station to station, you have these story cards, which make you have to place encampments on specific land types, but also by specific resources within the card. Of course, there are other ways to score points other than your story tiles. There are spaces where you can collect berries, and then these berries sit next to your player board, and they'll score you points at the end of the game. There are cards and tiles with little fire symbols. Those fire symbols will also score your points at the end of the game as well. When you fulfill a criteria, you slide the story up your board, which will unlock you being able to gain an extra card. There are slots when you play out a campsite. You can slide a card under your board, giving you an extra resource or end of game scoring points. There are differences to the game that make it very interesting. When you're trying to traverse through where someone else, an opponent, has a campsite, you have to give a card of that colour to your opponent as a, I'm just passing through here, thanks, this is your toll, this is what you're having to pay. So there are interesting decisions in the puzzly element, and it definitely plays better with more people, but I'm left just wanting more. There are multiple scenarios that you can play in the game that change up the rules in some fashion. There's also floods that fill the board with water spaces, or a big old volcano that does big bad volcano stuff. Now, these ways do improve gameplay. They improve the difficulty and the challenges of placing your campsites on, and give you a bit more freedom to do a bit more, as well as restricting you somewhat too. Things are not all bad. It's a fantastic production, and it is mechanically a perfectly sound game. This is essentially a gateway game, an entry into the hobby. So if you're new to board games, then this one I would probably recommend to you. There's no big rules, overheads. It's really easy to teach, and it can be a lot of fun. I think if you're expecting more from the game, then you'll probably be a little bit disappointed. And that is Dewan, really. It is a good entry-level game to come into the hobby. It can be fun with the right people, if the right people wanting to play the strategies, repeat plays like most board games. You want to have more plays to actually get the strategy, those emerging strategies within the board game itself, to work out exactly what you're trying to do. There is a lot of replayability with the amount of modules that you get, so it can't be said that it's a one and done kind of game and you've just got one style to play and that's it, and then you'll just put it back in a box, put it on the shelf. There are multiple ways to explore this game and explore the regions that you go out and play the game on. I'd even go to say that this game is better at 3 and 4 players. 4 is probably absolutely the best. 3 and 2. 2 It's playable at 2, but it's not that exciting. The thing I found from time to time is that some story cards are impossible to fulfill. You may need, for example, this example right here, 4 of these mountain areas on the board, and you may just have, when you randomly set up these hex tiles, because they're all modular, you may have randomly set them up where you've suddenly not allowed there to be 4 regions. And therefore the card is impossible to play, and you could end up having a row of cards that you just can't fulfill. But most importantly of all, I want to hear what you think about Dewan. Dewan is a good little game if you are bored of playing Ticket to Ride and you want a next step up, if you want to learn some new mechanics to get newer gamers into the hobby, slowly but surely increasing that knowledge of essentially quasi-worker placement with resource management, then this is a game worth checking out for newer gamers. But let me know what you think in the comments. Please remember to subscribe, share this video with friends. I really appreciate your support, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Dewan. It's a board game, because it's a board game chat. I should learn how to end a video. Toodles.